Brooks is the lead blocker, on some of those pony package runs. That was a lot of fun. So when you look at the running back room, Josh Jacobs, 92, Emmanuel Wilson, 82, Chris Brooks, 65, and then Marshawn Lloyd, 53. I think you either carry 4 or you try to stash Chris Brooks on the practice squad. Now, an injury could occur. I hope that doesn't happen in camp, but they're not going to – I mean, there's no way. If all 4 of these guys are healthy, there's no way they're letting Marshawn Lloyd try to go to the practice squad. That's just not going to happen. So we may be carrying 4. Boys, what do y'all think about the running back room, what Ed Madden and the guys said in the chat about Chris Brooks? That's going to be a hard one to let go, Jacob, if you decide to move on from Chris Brooks.
Yeah, it's just that type of year, though, where it's like, where do you make the cut? I mean, we've got all of our guys that we love on the offensive line. I've got at least 3 tight ends that I want to see make this team, if not 4. I've got at least 3, if not 4 running backs that I want to make this team. And then the wide receiver room is longer than the freaking line at, never mind, the club, let's say. Let's just say the Oval Office when I'm on stage. Let's say that. And then
don't ask for your money back once you get in there.
All sales are final. I just think that it's a big deal because there's also, we talk about how many guys on the defensive side of the ball we're trying to sneak on. So at this point, does Chris Brooks, can we slide him by making it through to the practice squad again, or does he have too much notoriety and too much tape on film that somebody could snag him up? I don't know. If I had my druthers and I could say, yeah, I would love to keep all of them. I really would. I just. Yep. For whatever reason, I think that Chris Brooks is the odd man out, even though I don't think that's fair. But that's
in
life.
A perfect world, he's your practice squad guy, right? And you run with Jacobs, Wilson, and Lloyd, and you let Wilson and Lloyd fight it out for that number 2 spot. I would agree, because I'd like to keep those 4. We haven't really seen much of Jalen White or Amar Johnson to really even talk, but I would agree. And it's tough, Jacob, like you said. Look at the receiver room. And you look at some of the guys that we have that are capable of playing in the backfield. We were talking about Savion Williams. We talked about Jaden Reed. So it does. You got a deep running back room, but you've also got a receiving core that are capable of lining up back there as well. So it makes it really tough to cut down for sure.
Yeah. And I like what Coach Lynn says here. Unless Johnson from South, I'm trying to think of who it is. South Dakota State he played for? SCUSD. Not sure what that stands for there. Is a stud, but he's talking about obviously Amar Johnson. Amar Johnson, where did he play? Let me see here real quick. Yeah, South Dakota State Jackrabbits. So the same school that Tucker went to, right? So that's one that could, listen, we didn't know who the hell Emmanuel Wilson was when they signed him, Tim, Yep. So this is how you find these guys, right? Now, I'm not saying that Amar Johnson is going to replace Emmanuel Wilson. Don't get me wrong, but you can't be too worried about losing someone like Chris Brooks. I mean, that's the reason you brung Amar Johnson and Jalen White in. And I will say this, that it is worth noting that we broke camp last year with the initial 53. Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Emmanuel Wilson, and we put A.J. Dillon on the injured reserve, and we released Ellis Merriweather and Nate McCrary. So both of those guys obviously are not on the roster now. So I'm not going to say it's highly unlikely we carry 4, but last year we did break camp with 3. I personally think if you break camp with 3, it's definitely going to be Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, Marshawn Lloyd. And like you said, Tim, try to get Chris Brooks on the practice squad.
Hopefully. So, for sure.
Yeah. And Amar Johnson too. That's the thing too. If Chris Brooks and Amar Johnson on the practice squad sounds pretty dang good to me. If you can make that happen,
and to Jacob's point, you never know. Brooks could be one of those guys that gets snatched up, because there is tape out there. We've seen enough that he could be intriguing to another team as a prospect. So he might not be safe there.
What's even crazier too is Daryl. How's your wives doing, Daryl? He brings up a good point. He says Ellis Merriweather did what he could in the backfield before signing with the CFL team. I thought Ellis Merriweather looked great in preseason. There was times where I was like, man, he might make this team, Right.
I said the same thing. Shows what the hell we know, right?
I said the same thing about Christian Welch. This guy's Ray Lewis. But now he's back on the team again. Unbelievable. Now, yeah, it's going to be.
Oh, wait, too old for this. Easy solution. Cut Alex Hale, designate Whelan as the international player, and boom, you keep Brooks.
I get too old for this.
Can't say that's not intriguing, but how dare you insult my upstart young blood kicker waiting in the wings for Brandon McManus to retire in a couple of years and take over the reins. But hey, I've heard of crazier game plans than this. What do you think?
I'll tell you, no comment, man. That's I love the way 2-0 for this is mind fires, though. No doubt about it, man. All right, so there's just a quick glimpse at running back. We started off talking about Jaden Reed. Let's take a look at the receiver room real quick. All right, we got Mecole Hardman, 72.8, Jaden Reed, 71.7, Christian Watson, 70, Romeo Dobbs, 69, Dontavion Wicks, 65, Bo Melton, 63, Malik Heath, 62. Now, if you go to EPA and some of the advanced metrics and get away from PFF, you'll find that Malik Heath was one of our better receivers with the limited opportunities he was given, right? Dontavion Wicks, way down the list. Jaden Reed, passer rating when targeted, was the best amongst all receivers in the National Football League last year, which is still wild to think about. Christian Watson led the league in yards per reception at 21.4, I believe it was, while Jordan Love obviously led the league with 24 completions of 20-plus air yards, or more. So the big thing that sticks out, though, is Mecole Hardman, man. I think Mecole Hardman's going to make this roster if he stays healthy. I think they like his speed. I think they like his veteran leadership. He's got a ring or two, Super Bowl ring, so he brings that aspect to the team as well. Last year we broke camp with 6. If you had to pick them right now, well, what 6 are we going with here, guys? I know this. If it comes down to Malik Heath and Bo Melton, as much as I love Bo, I'm probably keeping Malik Heath, although you got to run it through the filter of, can you get Malik Heath on the practice squad? What do you guys think about the receiver room?
I'm with you there on if it's down to Bo and Malik, I'm going to go with Malik Heath, man. And that's no disrespect to Bo Melton. We love Bo Melton, but Malik's a dog, man. He's one of those guys that might not get a lot of snaps, but every snap that he gets, he's going to maximize, and he's going to make a play. He's going to show up on that game tape. He doesn't take plays off. But if I had to pick 6, I think you're right, man. Rome, Tay Wicks, Jaden Reed, Mecole Hardman, Savion, Matt Golden, Scoot coming off of the IR. That's my 6.
How about you, Jacob?
Yeah, it's tough. I agree with Tim. I gotta take Malik over Bo. I do also think that Mecole is somehow going to find a way on this team. I just think that he has shown too much. He's been too much of a veteran presence. So I'd probably mimic that. Yeah, I think it'd be Dontavion, Dobbs, Reed, Hardman, Heath, and then obviously when Scoot comes back, we figure that out. But I mean, look at, and obviously the talent down there in Goldman, Savion, but it's like, there's so many guys there where it's like dealer's choice, man. And I know, like we talk about a lot, I don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it should happen, but it's almost guaranteed that there are going to be some injuries. So it's nice to know that there is an absolute rotation. Like this team, I don't think you'll find another team in the NFL right now that has a deeper and more talented wide receiver group. It's just crazy. You're
right. Even if you go to the bottom tier guys, right? Guys that may not make this team. Julian Hicks is a guy that had a good camp last year for
Cornelius
us.
Johnson
is another up and coming big body, receiver. So there's depth across the board. So you don't want to say, hey, you can't go wrong, just pick your 6, but you do feel good knowing that injuries happen to every team, every year, every season. It happens. It's bound to happen at some point. Hopefully it's a minor thing and not something like, Christian Watson's dealing with now, missing extended period of time. And you have the depth where, next man up. We always talk about it, the old cliche. Somebody goes down, next man up, fill that role, maximize your reps, and, go make an impact. And I think you're right, Jacob. I think we have a receiver room right now, at the 90-man point on the roster. We've got depth there. So whoever ends up on the 53 and whoever ends up on the practice squad, I think we're good going forward.
Now, if we look at production with the receiving core from last year, just catching the ball in general, both running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. Let's try to key in on wide receivers, but it's hard to ignore Tucker Kraft. First of all, leading the way in yardage, 857 receiving yards, Jaden Reed. Second on the team was Tucker Kraft at 707. Third was Christian Watson with 620, and you see that yards per reception at 21.4 right there. Just unbelievable. Romeo Dobbs, 601. Dontavion Wicks, 415. Josh Jacobs, 342 out of the backfield. Malik Heath, 97. Bo Melton, 91. Now, when you go to the touchdown column here, Tucker Kraft led the way with 7. Jaden Reed, 6. Dontavion Wicks with 5. Romeo Dobbs, 4. Christian Watson, only 2. Malik Heath, 2. Look at Malik Heath, man. He ran 62 routes and caught a couple tutters. Pretty wild. Pretty wild to think about. We go to yards per reception. This is where you see Christian Watson shine at 21.4. Jaden Reed out of the slot, 15.6. Tucker Kraft, 14.1. Romeo Dobbs, 13.1. Bo Melton, 11. Tay Wicks, 10. Ben Sims, 10. Only 46 routes. Only targeted 5 times. Caught 4 balls. And now, I don't know, just averaged 10.5 yards a catch. Pretty cool, right? Then, of course, you got Malik Heath at 9. Josh Jacobs at 9. The fact that Josh Jacobs averaged 9 yards a catch is wild to think about.
Can we circle that one tutter there too? We got him his first career receiving tutter. Shout out to Josh Jacobs. Hopefully he gets at least one more this year. We'll see.
Yeah, and then with Jacob, when you go to catch percentage, this was the big thing, right? People were worried about the drops and all, right? If you just focus on wide receivers, okay. Well, first of all, Ben Sims. Shout out to Ben. Well, Josh Jacobs, 83.7% catch percentage out of the backfield, just sure-handed as they come, right? Ben Sims, 80%. Emmanuel Wilson improved his catching ability in the passing game at 78.6. Malik Heath, 76.9. Malik Heath led all of our receivers at 76.9% catch rate, right, or catch percentage. Jaden Reed at 73.3. So of our starting wide receivers, you would go on Twitter and people say, Jaden Reed just catch ball. He got a drop issue. He led our starting receivers, right, in catch percentage at 73.3. I just want to point that out. And look at Musgrave too, man. 70% catch rate right there, right behind Tucker Kraft at 71.4. What do y'all think about that? Am I off base there? Because there's people ready to run Jaden Reed out of town because he has a drop issue. Of course, we broke down the last 5 games of the year, and there was only one that could have been counted as a drop, and he was full extension trying to catch football because the ball was off the mark. But
I got a hot take for you.
Let's hear it.
Jaden Reed's going to be your leading receiver in 2025 for the Green Bay Packers. Book it.
Hey, that ain't hot to me at all, man. I can see him, if he stays healthy, Tim, and with the emergence of Savion Williams, Savion Williams taking more end arounds and stuff and taking that off Jaden Reed's plate, keeping him healthy, I would not be surprised if Jaden Reed cracks a grand this year. I would.
You got Matthew Golden stretching the field, running 9 routes all day, torching the secondary. Yeah, Bird's going to get his, man. Definitely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I agree. I just can't. As we went through all those percentages and those metrics, again, I hate to be the same guy, but the guy that flashed to me was Tucker Kraft. The fact that he had almost 800 yards receiving, did he lead us in touchdowns? I believe. Yeah, he did. And the fact that, again, if you look at even the wide receivers, he was the 3rd average catch, I believe, at 14 some odd yards, which that's pretty impressive for a tight end. And I really do think that he has not cracked his potential. So if I had to pick between, I think Reed will have more yards. I do think that's fair, but there's just so much more to spread around. I wouldn't be surprised if Reed ended up with like just over $1,000, and if Tucker still somehow was like in that 800-900 yard area, but maybe somehow cracked like 10 touchdowns, because I just feel like that they understand what type of weapon he is. But again, dealer's choice, man. Who are you going to cover? Imagine this is 11 personnel, 12 personnel, whatever you want to say, 21 personnel. You got to put a hat on a hat for certain guys that are just going to absolutely light you up. And then again, if I said earlier that I'd love to have 4 tight ends. John Fitzpatrick, look at that. 7 games played, not a ton, right? There's not a lot. He's got not that many targets and all that, but 100% is 100%. Marshawn Lloyd, 100% is 100%. Chris Brooks up there again. So you understand why these guys kind of pop off the page and become homers for us and hometown heroes, because they just, when we asked them to do a certain thing or a certain scheme in certain games, they performed. We didn't, ask them to do it, and we haven't seen it over the course of the whole season. So obviously that's why you have to take these metrics with a grain of salt, with a lot of them that have low snaps, low play time, low games. But I mean, man, dude, we've talked about how when we lost in that Philly game, once our few starters went down, we just had no backups. We had no rotation. We had no bench, man. And all I'm seeing right now is that we are stacking up that floor. We already kind of know, I think, that what a lot of these guys' ceiling is, but now we've got a lot of new guys that show that we could push that ceiling even farther. I think the most underrated thing about this offseason, about building off of last season, is that our floor, it's rising, baby. It's a rising.
Yeah. This receiving, it's tough.
It is, Brett. When you look at some of the advanced metrics here, catch rate over expected. Ben Sims, minimal snaps, obviously, 46 routes, but 15.8% led the way. John Fitzpatrick, 9.7. Of course, throw that out. This is what I was talking about. Malik Heath, of all the receivers, Malik Heath led in catch rate over expected at 9.7%. Luke Musgrave, 7.2%. And then you get down to our first starting receiver, if you will, Christian Watson, plus 5.2%. Boy, that whole crowd of the fan base that was saying Christian Watson couldn't catch a football, they're awful quiet now. We just got to get him healthy for sure. Romeo Dobbs, 2.9%. Jaden Reed, plus 1.2%. Tucker Kraft comes in at a negative 2.1%. But again, man, what sticks out there is your best two receivers in terms of catch rate over expected. Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, no surprise there, but Jaden Reed right on Romeo's heels in terms of catch rate over expected. In terms of receiving EPA, Jaden Reed leading the way at 37.7. Tucker Kraft, there he is again, Jacob, 32.6. Romeo Dobbs, 24.9. Christian Watson, 16. And then once again, Malik Heath, you find him above players like Bo Melton, Dontavion Wicks. This is the metric I was talking about. Dontavion Wicks, catch rate over expected, minus 12.4%. And here's what's crazy is minus 12.4%. That is absolutely horrible catch rate over expected. But PFF has him graded a 65. Why? Because they're probably grading his route running ability in as well, right? If he fixes the drops this year, which weren't an issue his rookie year, to the best of my memory, I think you're going to have Dontavion Wicks stepping right back in on pace. He hit the sophomore slump. I'm hoping he just hits it in stride here this year, picks right up where he left off his rookie year. So, any other metric you guys want to see there? I'm looking at the average separation here, and when you remove the running backs, which they're going to have the most separation, look at Tucker Kraft, 4.4%. Jaden Reed, 4.4 yards of separation on average. Jaden Reed, 4. Musgrave, 3.2. Ben Sims, 3.1. And then Dontavion Wicks at 3. So you see, he created more separation than people like Malik Heath, Romeo Dobbs, and Christian Watson. You're seeing that route running ability kind of show in the average yards of separation. But still, Jaden Reed, better than Dontavion Wicks at creating separation. Braden in the chat says Tucker Kraft just becoming a dad is going to motivate him to a new level this year. His Instagram story was legendary. Dude was born for Green Bay. I could not agree more. Did you guys see that? Him holding the newborn baby?
Shout out to Rob Westerman for reposting that on X. I saw that earlier today. What a cute pic. He had the baby in the helmet. Good luck. Congratulations to Tuck Norris, man. That's awesome.
Definitely. Anything else you guys want to hit here on the receiver room? Anything at all before we move it along? Good?
No, just shout out to Cheesehead Murph. Every time he's in the chat, we're blessed. What up, Cheesehead Murph?
Murph?
That is my guy. I like what Greg Rice says. Murph with 2 F's, though. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. All right. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour 2, where we're going to talk defense and just give a little training camp preview there. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour 2. Let's talk defense, gents. Let's jump over to that side of the ball to take me a minute to set it up. Let's get your all's opening statements when you're thinking about the defensive side of the ball for the Packers. I don't care who goes first. What's the first player that comes to mind for you? Tim, you go first. I see you over chomping at the bit. What's the first player that comes to mind for you when you think of the Green Bay Packers defense, Tim?
Edrin Cooper. Let's go. Frosty, baby. Year 2, sophomore slump my ass. He's going to be an all-pro this year, boys. Let's go.
Well, that's true, but also you left out Cinco.